tell everyone about yourself?
Well, hello. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. My name's Briana Bender. Um, I'm a storyteller. That's the best way to put it. That's the most all-encompassing. So, I'm an act. What that means is I'm an actress. I'm a producer and a writer, entertainment localization professional. Um, and I also have background with a double major in French and environmental studies. So my second language is French, and I have a like beginning advanced degree of Spanish. So my storytelling really spans a lot of different varied experiences and
Hmm.
contexts, because I have a really varied background. Um, yeah.
And let's talk about your projects that you're working on. Can you tell everyone about it?
Yeah, definitely. So I just recently wrapped a short film in which I was the lead and I also produced. So that's actually live now. So folks can check out the link and check that out. It's a drama around a very sensitive
Hmm.
issue about sexual and physical abuse and intimate relationships. My character is a young journalist who first um, isn't doing so well at her job because she's disconnected from her voice, from the story that she really wants to tell. With the level of trauma and PTSD, it's difficult to access her emotions, her heart, what she really wants to talk about.
Hmm.
So the writing comes across really like she's a good writer, but it comes across really pedantic and it's not interesting enough. Um, so she realizes that she has to actually, confront her past, confront her demons in order to really find her voice as a writer, express it, what's in her heart, and ultimately seek justice. So we were able to really condense all of that into 10 minutes. And I'm starring in it, and I also produced it in the way that I really brought everybody together to help make it happen. And it's also starring people who I've been training with for a while. So that was a labor of love, and we're so excited about it. We're so proud of it.
And what made you decide to make this film?
So I really wanted to sink my teeth into this character as an actor from an acting
Hmm.
perspective. She's incredibly layered. And it's just really the type of drama that I want to be doing. And um, and I really wanted to just shed light on this sensitive issue. It's very timely, and the more that we tell stories that are important to us, we initiate healing, we initiate growth, we initiate connection. If you tell a story that's important to you, that's healing in and of itself. If you hear someone telling a story or watch a movie that resonates with a story that you haven't told yet, then that validates your inner story, and then we're just initiating and creating growth and healing in our storytelling community and for our viewership.
Wow. And what other upcoming projects do you have?
So I'm working on a few other things. I'm in the early drafting phases of a comedy, for a short film comedy, to sort of help balance my portfolio with some comedic content. I'm also working on a full length feature, which that's a process. So I'm being patient with myself with that. And I also launched a support group slash networking community for actors, writers, filmmakers, storytellers. It's called Conscious Storytelling, and it's really, the purpose is to get to the truth of what we really want to talk about and express in our work.
Hmm.
Irrespective of what anyone else says, irrespective of what's trending, what do we really want to talk about? And that requires a lot of personal growth, connecting with oneself, and ultimately connecting with the world at large. So we're really supporting each other, our growth as artists and as people, and eventually moving the needle in our careers.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We have to support each other in this entertainment industry. for sure.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and I'm glad you're making the film about, sexual violence and um, that's a subject we need to talk about. You know, and I believe that's kind of leaning toward like mental health as well, helping, and depression and all that. So mental health is very important for me to talk about as well. Um, so you're basically a producer and an actress, and um, when you produce your films, is it more leaning for bringing the community together?
It's a really good way to put it. With this last production, with the voice behind the story, I I produced in the way that I kind of brought everybody together to help make it happen. So I produced the film in conjunction with Creator Studios. So they did the cinematography, the editing, the directing, the writing, and then and I organized all of that. Um, but in terms of in terms of what I'm thinking about for my next project and moving forward, yeah, it really is about community and bringing people together. Not on you're as a, if you're when you're a producer, you're a ginormous project manager. You're a leader, and you're kind of setting the tone for the whole production. And then when beyond that, when it comes to promoting the film and getting it out there and finding the audience, you're creating a whole community and conversation around that specific story, whatever you're talking about.
Mhm.
um so definitely a producer is a leader.
It's amazing. And what made you want to become a producer?
I well, my first love is acting, but I am it's really it's good to sort of be exposed to every part of the filmmaking process. It's empowering for the actor, for the storyteller. If you can appreciate every part of the process, it also gives you a certain level of creative control. It helps really create that platform, that position where you can tell more of the stories that you want to tell, that you want to do. And that's kind of so that's how it started. I was you know taking acting classes and training and looking for a manager. Well, I recently got signed, so now I have a manager. But I'm really trying to get my foot in the door, and I thought I really need to take the initiative to create my own
Mhm,
content
mhm,
and really show the world what I can do and what I want to do. And in the producer role, you have the level of creative control where you can do what you want to do as opposed to relying on others to cast you in whatever they think you can do. And especially as I'm up and coming rising star, I really wanted to put that out there. And now that I have that experience, I am also equally passionate about the business side of the whole um, filmmaking process. Just everything that goes into it. It's incredibly empowering to also have that producer role. Now, don't get me wrong, I will be absolutely thrilled if somebody sees me in a part that I'm excited about and casts me in that part, definitely. And it will be very almost a relief to be able to just kind of not have to worry about anything else and just surrender to the character and just act. That will be wonderful, and I will take that opportunity any day. But if you all it's very important as an actor and as an artist to really take that initiative and
mhm,
create your own
mhm.
platform, and that's what the producer role helps do.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, Excuse me. My next question is, do you see being a woman producer, is it difficult in this entertainment industry still? In the 21st century or in 2024, a lot of women who may be watching from home or who are in the entertainment industry. You see a lot of women actors and actresses out there. I don't mean actors, actresses out there, but I could be wrong, so please correct me, but you don't see a lot of women directors or producers. Do you believe that in the entertainment industry that it is growing? You think there's more women producers and directors, including yourself, or do you believe it's still kind of slowly growing?
That's a really, really good question. And basically, for all the women filmmakers out there and aspiring women filmmakers out there, I honestly don't give those types of metrics and challenges too much thought. I believe wholeheartedly in my dream and my projects, and I just go for it. And I just believe 1000% that, you know, there are people on my side, there's a network, there's an audience for my work. And this is my dream. And nobody can take what's already mine. And even if there are a few extra roadblocks that might be some challenges that'll
Right,
help me
right.
grow and give me more experience and
Mm-hmm.
and new perspectives. That's I just use all those challenges just to help my growth. I don't spend any time thinking about
Yeah.
the politics and the metrics of anything. I really don't. So
Well, that's
that's my
amazing. I just had to ask you that because
yeah.
it's people are, a lot of audience, your audience, my audience, and other around the world is probably wondering what, why, and if it's growing or if it's not growing, if it's still the same, um,
Mhm.
just a curiosity question. A little bit about you more is do you have any siblings? I'm going to ask you three questions. That's one
My
question.
God.
Number two is, are you originally from California? If not, where are you from?
Wow. So I was so I was born in Texas, in Austin, Texas, if you want to go
Mm-hmm.
all the way back. We moved to upstate New York in the coldest winter in 10 years for my father's job. And I we moved a couple times, but I pretty much grew up in the upstate New York area. I did my undergrad at Ithaca College, Ithaca, New York, and I stayed there for a little while I completed my master's program. Actually, the online division of the on-campus program at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, but I did that while I was still living in Ithaca. Ithaca's beautiful. And it's such an artistic little town, and it's like this cultural hub in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous. But I was definitely looking for bigger horizons, so I made the move to LA in 2017. And I'm an only child, so I definitely got a lot of attention in every possible way.
My next question for you is, since you lived in New York and now you live in LA, what what's the one thing you notice in the entertainment industry, big huge difference between LA and New York? And I know a lot of actors are saying, New York is a good place for stage acting, and yes, they have some films and TV shows, and then they say, well, LA is more for big bang, big bang, sorry, big bang acting and being on film and TV, and you're near the West Coast, you're all the Arizona, New Mexico, you don't have to worry all that. And but the East Coast, New York people say you're close to New York and Atlanta. So what have you noticed? And that's my first question. And my next question is, what made you decide to leave New York to go to LA? And I think that's the same question as number one. So maybe you can answer that
Yeah,
question.
definitely. So I actually am not too familiar with New York City because I grew up in upstate New York and I didn't spend a lot of time in New York City. So that's actually the first assumption that I kind of, pop with a lot of people. So that, which is totally okay. When you think New York, you think New York City. Um, but yeah, I, th- I think that I don't know. The move to LA, I feel like it was much more intuitive, more an
Mm-hmm.
intuitive decision more than anything else. I mean, of course, I had my, kind of logical reasons, like, okay, LA is known for film and I want to be in film. But I don't know. I think that my heart really just told me this is the move you have to make. And so that it was it was and it was really the best decision. You know, I've connected with a lot of like-minded souls, like-minded creatives, you know, folks like myself who are, you know, combining a lot of different interests and creating their own path. And I didn't realize that, because I have my interests there and, you know, acting and writing and foreign language with, you know, the French, and I double majored in French and environmental studies. I'm passionate about social issues. So you know, I was one, you know, sometimes, you know, younger me would have doubted myself a little bit, saying like, oh, I'm kind of all over the place. But you know, when I moved out here, no, I meet people who are like, yep, I'm into this, I'm into this, I'm into this. And you know, I'm either combining all those things or I'm not, you know, or just, you know, creating your own career. And I mean, you can do that in New York City too, but you know, I've really connected with people here like that.
Mm-hmm.
Any like key differences I might have noticed? It's hard to explain. I think maybe more or less culturally might be, you know, the main difference.
And the
There's just,
weather.
you know, the weather. Yes, definitely the weather. um,
Well, that part of me, to be honest, I rather live in the West Coast than the East Coast with New York with the cold and 20 degrees, -10. But anyway, I'm sorry. But um, I had to ask you because, a lot of actors and actresses and producers and directors are probably wondering, it's like, what should I make a decision to move across country to
mhm.
the LA? And, do that. So my next question for you to follow up with that is, did you do you think, well, I don't want, it's not mainly you, but do you believe that starting off is that, you're from Austin, it's not a big city compared to LA, but do you believe starting off people should move right away to LA or New York and just try to go for it? Or do you think they should just stay in their community and start small and just build your career and then move?
Yeah, very it's a very personal decision. You know, everyone's journey is a little bit different. I hear people who, yeah, they stay in their hometown with people they know. They start small. They make, you know, short films with people they know. They push it in festivals, and then when they have that, you know, a little bit of that portfolio, then they move out here. My 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 drive from moving to LA was, you know, I really wanted to start that process
Mm-hmm.
in the city where the big things are happening and really just start making my connections
Right.
there. You know, I was my logic was, you know, if I'm going to go for it, I'm going to just go for it. You
And
know.
and and
And so there's you are a much smaller fish in a bigger pond, but there's plenty and plenty of work, and it's just a matter of finding it.
right.
Um So I mean, and it's very personal, but I feel like, at least for me, and the way I challenge other people to make decisions is, what do you want most in the whole world, and how and think big. Like, how big do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
start there and then work your way down. Okay, if you want, you know, if I want to, you know, act in films and make films and tell my stories, broadcast them for the whole world, then it makes the most sense for me to move to LA, where I can be already starting to make connections there. And yeah, and I'm still starting small. You know, I'm just, you know, made small-ish. You know, I made a short film, and I'm working on other projects like
Mm-hmm.
that, and I'm kind of just putting the building blocks in place. I'm still doing that, but I'm here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was sort of my personal logic, what my heart was telling me. And when I and if I were to give advice to anyone, I would definitely advise to start with the big dream and then and then kind of
Mm-hmm.
go from there. As a, you know, that, you know, and it's a little bit scary, you know, it gets you out of your comfort zone, but that's how you're really going to find like your direction. Like, if you're really looking at what you really want. Otherwise, you're kind of going to be clouded with uncertainty, a lot of doubts if you're not
Mhm.
really seeing what you want, you're not really seeing the big picture. Does that help answer the question?
Yeah, it does. It does. I hope it answers a lot of audience questions as well because you have that moment you think about.
Mhm,
It's like, oh my goodness, I'm coming from a small town. I I I don't know what to do. Or if you live in Phoenix, in Arizona, for example, and you're like, I moved from Phoenix. I'm moving to LA. I don't know anybody there. What am I gonna do?
mhm,
And I think that answers a lot of questions because you go big, move, and just take the risk. And that's the one thing about you know, about moving. But the one thing I will say about the entertainment industry is that we're all a family. We support
mhm.
each other. You know,
Definitely.
and that's the one thing I noticed. So my next question for you is being a producer or an actress. And this is for everybody that's curious. What's the one thing that you notice being is so challenging as being an actress? I asked, same thing for a male actor. What's the one thing so challenging being in this entertainment industry, being an actress, you and this goes with moving as well, but it doesn't matter where we are, but it's like you have auditions and you have females or guys are saying, "Oh," and I hate to bring this up, but it does happen that they go to auditions and they're like, "Oh, is my hair too short? Am I not wearing enough makeup? Was I not wearing the
Mhm.
right high heels? Was I not wearing that was I not doing good? Like I thought I was doing good, or if for females and guys were like, did I not put enough gel? Did I they don't like my beard? And I think a lot of and I think this is mainly speaking. I'm saying this because a lot of young actors, a lot of teenagers, and probably not kids, but you can speak for them as well. But a lot of young actors, teenagers, high school kids, adults are wondering. I got in this entertainment industry. I'm auditioning. I thought I got the role, and I'm not getting it. And they're now realizing, wow, this is so challenging. So for you, and you can answer those questions for them as well. What have you noticed, including auditions?
So part of the gig is dealing with rejection. You can expect, 100 no's per one yes. That's part that is how it goes. That's part of the gig. I mean, and not necessarily always, sometimes, you get that one yes, the life works in mysterious ways, um you you can expect a lot of rejection just because there's so many factors that go into casting and that have nothing to do with your talent. And yeah, too many to count. And it's highly competitive, so it just really takes that perseverance, just dedication, perseverance. If this is a long haul process, overnight success is the result of just the accumulation of
Hmm.
years of planting the seeds and just showing up again and again and again and again consistently. And even now, like for me, this is starting this on some level feels like overnight success because I just released the film, got a manager, got an interview, but this is the result of just years and years of hard work and preparation and dedication. You have to really love yourself. Like you have to radically love yourself, um so that anyone else's opinion, what anyone else thinks, doesn't matter. I
Hmm.
mean, if a few if if you're getting consistent feedback from a few experts about what you can do to improve your craft, then it's helpful to take a look at that. But the industry's brutal, and there's, so many, right, like, oh, is your hair the right color, is your, and for women, your boobs big enough, so, or, like there's so there's a lot
Right.
that goes into
You said
making
that. I didn't want to say
that,
that,
that
but
that's not necessarily fair, but that's why it really is your job as an actor to just radically love yourself unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
Believe in yourself, believe that the dream already belongs to you. It's just a matter of it materializing. Um, and being consistent and being persistent. It, the self-care and the self-love, I think, is 80% of our craft, if not more, you know. So yeah, that and it's I'm sympathetic. It's not easy. I believe we're born, with the capacity to love ourselves in that way, but we're not necessarily raised or conditioned to. So it takes a lot of personal development, inner
Mm-hmm.
work, a lot of work on ourselves to be able to love ourselves in that way. But that's what's necessary, and eventually, that's what's going to sustain us. Given the amount of challenges and pressure that the job and the industry is going to throw at us, because but be and the acting as a job is, just as a job, is highly demanding
Mm-hmm.
emotionally. It's long hours, and you have to have a really high level of energy the whole time. And that it's that self-love and that commitment to your dream that's going to sustain you through that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very good advice because a lot of people, a lot of young actors, teenagers, even adults want to get in this entertainment industry. And you brought up a lot of good points because it's a tough, it's very tough, and
Mhm.
and you have to have passion to get into this, right? And it's unfortunate, it sucks, but if you love what you're doing and you keep going and you keep pushing yourself, you'll eventually get a role, and but also the good news about audition, what I've heard and what I've noticed is that you may audition for the role, you may not get it, but that producer or director will remember you. And they're like,
Yes.
and if somebody
Yes.
asks, if somebody asks a producer or a director and say, I'm looking for this actress and this, like, I know somebody like fit for that, and they will always recommend you, and that's, you never know, you may never had to audition for that role, and they just look at the tape because like, oh yes, this is who I want. So that's I think that's what a lot of people may not notice about audition. You may be recorded, you may be going there in person, but you're being recorded, you may not get the role, but you never know
You
if that
never know.
director or producer is going to share you to other people. That's what.
Every audition is an opportunity to express yourself. Every
Hmm.
audition is, you're just going to work.
And
That's it.
and also the good news is you're becoming friends with that producer. You may not
Yes,
get it, but they're gonna
yes.
remember you. They're like,
They will remember you.
they're
They
like,
will definitely remember you. If you think about it in that way, like you're just going to work and you're just giving it your all as you would any day on set, you will make friends in the room. And that's really your main
mm-hmm,
goal, is to make friends in the room. And if it's not that role, it will come back at the right time.
yeah, 100%. It will come back. That's the one thing I love about the entertainment industry because we're all a family. We're all
Yeah.
family. So that's why I had to ask you that question. So you said you were from Austin, and did your family think you were crazy to move to New York? And I know you went to school there, but did they think you're even more crazy to go from New York, fly across the country, even over Texas maybe, to go back to LA and live there? They probably thought, "Oh, maybe she'll move back to Austin." Did they ever thought their only child would do that?
Well, I'd have to ask them. Well, first of all, I was born in Austin, but I don't remember it. But
Oh, okay.
I grew. So we lived in upstate New York most of my life. But
Sorry.
yeah, no worries, no worries. I know it's a lot. I have a lot. I have a lot going on, so it's hard to keep track of. But you know, I my parents really they sacrificed a lot so that I could have the best life and I
Mm-hmm.
could really live my dreams. My mother definitely raised me to, carve my own path, create my own life. She homeschooled me before I started public school in the 7th grade, and that was something she really, preached and nurtured all the time was, be yourself and do what you want and carve your own path and don't be afraid to be unique or to be different than others or to shine your own light. That's something I really got from her.
Mm-hmm.
um so I think they may be, and they might have been a little nervous about how it's going to work out for me, and how am I going to end up supporting myself. But I think at the end of the day they really trusted me that I knew what I was doing, and it's all going to work out. And it's and I've been living here for about I don't know, several years now. A good for a bit. I've been living here for a minute, and for a while, I think I would always get asked like, "Oh, how come you haven't made it yet?" Like, and it's just because they're nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Their child is all the way across the country, and they don't really know what's going on, and they don't really understand what it takes out here. And so it's from a place of love and also anxiety. But now that things are coming through, they're like, oh yes, like we knew it would happen, like that's amazing. They're very, very excited for me.
That's good. And they still live up there.
Yes, yes. Mm.
Okay. Yeah, they must thought you were crazy for a moment to leave New York and go all the way across country, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's very I'm very proud. You're making your own film, and you're doing the documentaries, and I think it's really important that you're making a film about, in my view, sexual harassment and stories like that, and it's very important to tell stories like and I believe also you're making a film kind of about mental health as well, in my view,
Yes.
and you're telling stories, and that's really powerful because I'm also a mental health person, and I believe in mental health, and
Hmm.
that's good. We have to talk about mental health. We have to talk about, you know, let everyone know that you're not alone about mental health, and that's why, as yourself a producer, as myself as a talk show host, we want to keep talking about it and keep showing people action to let everyone know we're telling their stories, and that's
Yeah.
that's that's my that's one thing I want to say.
Yes. The film is very much a study in both like the the issue of domestic violence, physical, sexual, emotional abuse, and the sort of the psychological and emotional impact of that, and what it really takes to overcome that. And that's a lot to condense in 10
Hmm.
minutes for sure. But you know if folks watch it, they'll see that we did it. We definitely did it. Yeah. I'd love to say more about it. I'm just trying to think of what wants to come up. Yeah, Carrie is a layered character. You
Hmm.
look at her like she comes across as someone who has everything going for her, nothing to complain about. And then, like, halfway through the film, it kind of just flips, and you're just like, holy crap, she's been through some stuff. And she's very good at making it look like that nothing like that's happened, like that kind of background would not even cross your mind if you just met Carrie on the street.
Hmm.
And that she's educated, she's um she's sophisticated, but on the flip side, she has been through the trenches.
Hmm.
And then in the final scene, where it's kind of the call to action scene, I feel like everything really just comes together as the character, as the actress, as the artist. It's like all my years of preparation and training and the preparation we did for the film kind of just all came together and exploded. And if you watch it, there's some emotional truth there.
Hmm.
There's some really deep emotional truth. And I feel like and for all the other characters too, like there's the the ex-boyfriend John, and these are the names of the characters. I'm not quoting the actual actors. And then Nikki, the sister, like
Hmm.
everyone's kind of coming from their own mess. You know,
Hmm.
everyone has their own pain and the
Right.
way they deal with it. And you see all that juxtaposed together.
Hmm.
There is something there is something for many, many people to relate to in one
Hmm.
way or
Hmm.
another, if not everyone, you know. And even if you haven't actually been through that extreme type of abuse, there's something everyone can connect with. You know, all women have been objectified in one way or another. And if you're a man and you've been through some kind of abuse, especially like physical or sexual abuse, then I can imagine that would be even more isolating. So there's something for everyone to connect with. And that's what I love about it. That's what I love about film. You know, it doesn't we're playing all kinds of characters and all types of, you know, extreme circumstances, and we get to explore that as artists, and then we really get to show a mirror to our audience, and they can
Right.
see themselves in one way or another, and that'll either help heal, or it will provoke, or it will be, you know, thought provoking, or, you know, it's I don't think that art necessarily fixes anything in and of itself, but it is an agent of change. It's a catalyst.
Mhm.
It's a vehicle. So I'm very excited about it.
Well, that's powerful, and I'm so happy that you're making the film. And where can people watch it?
So it is available on Vimeo, and I have a website for the film, and it links to where you can rent or buy it
Hmm.
or make
Hmm.
any contribution of your desire, your choosing. It's the voice behind the story film.com. So you can check it out there. The link is below in the YouTube description. It's also on the bio of my Instagram page, Briana Bender Official. Yeah, and I hope folks enjoy it.
Yes, I hope so too. Wow. And thank you for sharing that. And also thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It has been a pleasure speaking with you, having this conversation. It's been invigorating.
You're very welcome, and I would love to have you back on my show.
Definitely reach out to me anytime.
Yes, I will. Definitely will have you back on my show. I know, I believe I reached out to you before, and I said, you know, I'm gonna reach out to you again because I know we were both busy,
Yes.
and I think last time I was reaching out to you, you told me you were working on a this film, and
Yes.
you said, Let's let me wait a while," and I said, you know, I think the film is done, so let me reach out to you again. And I'm so
Yeah.
happy it did because, to be honest, I didn't know when it was going to be done.
Yeah, I was working on the release date and getting it up and finding the right platform for it. So that's definitely been a journey. You know, it's yeah, there's there's definitely a market for short
Hmm.
films, and there's definitely ways to stream them, but that's kind of an unknown territory for me. So I've been pioneering that in my own way.
Right. Well, thank you for coming on, and I look forward to having you back on my show.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I will talk to you soon.
Talk to
All
you
right, bye
next
bye.
time.